Former glamour model Katie Price has reportedly drawn the curtain on her whirlwind romance with Married at First Sight UK star JJ Slater, after candidly admitting she doesn't need a man in her life anymore. Katie Price and JJ Slater's high-profile relationship appears to have come to an end, with the former glamour model, 47, said to have called time after deciding she couldn't see a future with her younger partner. The pair went public with their romance in 2024 and quickly became a talking point, regularly appearing loved up in interviews and across social media despite their 15-year age gap. JJ, 32, rose to fame on Married at First Sight UK, where he famously recoupled with the show's first transgender star, Ella Morgan. While neither Katie nor JJ has publicly addressed the split in detail, relationship experts suggest the breakdown may have been driven less by explosive drama and more by fundamental differences in life stage, priorities and expectations, challenges that can become more pronounced in age-gap relationships. According to international wellness and relationship coach Teresa Young, such relationships can absolutely work, but only if both partners are truly aligned. Age-gap relationships can absolutely work when both people are aligned in what they want from life and how they show up emotionally, Teresa explains. Age gaps don't automatically end relationships, but they can highlight differences around lifestyle, maturity and future plans if those areas aren't fully aligned. In Katie and JJ's case, those differences may have gradually become harder to ignore. Katie has spent more than 2 decades navigating marriage, motherhood, financial turmoil and constant reinvention under intense public scrutiny. JJ, by contrast, remains relatively early in both his public profile and personal journey. Katie has decades of lived experience behind her, both personally and publicly, Teresa says. JJ, by comparison, is far newer on the scene and may still be finding his footing. That imbalance, she suggests, can create intense chemistry in the early stages, particularly when one partner is already well established and the other is still defining their identity. When one person enters a relationship with someone so well known, a level of admiration can create intensity very early on, Teresa adds, but it can also create a power imbalance. Sources have claimed the cracks in their relationship had become too obvious to ignore, despite Katie shutting down split rumors as recently as December. However, the star appeared to drop a major hint about her relationship status during a recent episode of the Katie Price Show podcast. Without mentioning JJ by name, Katie reflected on how her mindset around relationships has changed over the years. Years ago, I was always afraid of being on my own, she said. I always felt I needed someone. How I am now, I always say I don't need a man. If I want a man, it's because I want them. I don't need a man, whereas years before, I needed a man. Teresa notes that Katie's public framing of the relationship often appeared more pragmatic than emotional. Katie's framing tended to come across as more practical and outcome-focused rather than emotionally mutual, she explains. When one person is offering devotion and the other is engaging in a more transactional way, that difference can quietly erode the connection. A source told Mail Online that Katie had harbored doubts for some time but hoped the relationship might still work. She's now accepted the relationship will not end with her walking down the aisle for a 4th time, the insider claimed. JJ was left disappointed and has already packed his bags and moved back to his home in Essex. They added, he genuinely saw a future with Katie, but it seems she ultimately had a very different outlook. Despite the reported split, the pair continue to follow one another on Instagram, a detail that may hint at an amicable parting rather than a bitter fallout. Katie began dating JJ, who appeared on the 2023 series of Married at First Sight UK, shortly after her separation from former fiancé Carl Woods. Ultimately, when a relationship ends with one person saying they can't see a future, it often reflects a deeper internal shift rather than one defining argument, Tarisha explains. When someone says they can't see a future, it usually reflects an internal evolution rather than a single issue, she says. People change, priorities shift, and sometimes a relationship no longer fits the life one person is moving towards. While age gap relationships can and do endure, Tarisha points to Catherine Zeta-Jones and Michael Douglas as a well-known example. Long-term success depends on shared values, emotional reciprocity, and moving forward in the same direction. For Katie and JJ, those paths may simply have diverged. On Saturday, Katie appeared to further fuel split speculation as she broke her silence in a new video posted to her YouTube channel. In the vlog, filmed to usher in the new year, the TV star outlined what she intended to focus on in 2026. Over the course of the 18-minute video, she listed the most important areas of her life, but made no mention of JJ. The vlog opens with Katie spending time with her son Harvey, before cutting to scenes of her daughter Princess as she prepares to head out. JJ does appear briefly in the background at one point, seen looking at his phone, and later helping Harvey into the car while on the Isle of Wight. However, the footage is believed to have been filmed prior to New Year's Eve, and therefore before the couple's reported breakup, suggesting the relationship had already reached its final chapter by the time the video was shared.